I think the most important message I could give anyone is believe in yourself, because it only takes one person to make a change. You don't need to create an organization or join an organization. You just need to make changes every day and make conscious decisions and changes every day to make the world a better place. Everything changes with one person, and why wouldn't it be you? So if you can take action, make a kinder choice, just a little tiny bit kinder and safer for everyone, human and animal that live in it, just do it. Because I believe in you and I know you can do it. We can all do it, but we just have to believe in ourselves to try.
For nature.
For the ocean.
For people.
For animals.
Hello, lovely Sanusplanet community. It's amazing that you're here today again. And as you can see, if you watch the YouTube podcast, I have a beautiful guest today again, Laura Broxson. And I want Laura to share a bit of her story and about what she learned and has seen and is working on and campaigning for in her work for her NGO. But first of all, a short introduction from my side. Laura, you're an activist, but you're also a socialist, and you're the founder of the National Animal Rights Association. It's called NARA for everybody to check it out. It's located in Dublin, Ireland, which is amazing. I have never been in Ireland yet, but I really want to visit you there. And since about 2007, you campaigned in Ireland for animal rights. And I found a statement on your homepage that I absolutely love and completely 100% agree with. I mean, in the end, I agree with everything. But there's a statement which makes really much sense. And I think many of the listeners would really say, yeah, it's right. But if not everybody is living on it. So I want to share this. You wrote, we believe that animal already have rights, but that they are just not recognized socially or legally yet. So you really bring it to the point, I think, and you work hard for creating a better world and a better life for animals, free of any kind of exploitation and suffering. And for all of that, what you're doing and for all of the campaigns you're working on, I cannot thank you enough, because everybody knows I love animals, of course, yes, but I also love people who care for animals, and I love people transforming people to care more for animals. So that's exactly what you do. And I first of all want to say welcome in this podcast. Amazing that you're here and take your time to share your stories with us. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute honor, and it was lovely to meet you in person in Luxembourg as well. And I look forward to this discussion. I've been looking forward to it all week. And I hope we can discuss lots of campaigns and make people really aware of what we're doing here in Ireland.
Yeah, that's amazing. And like you just mentioned, Laura and me, we met at the Animal Rights Conference in Luxembourg this year. It was about a few months ago. And of course, I was listening to the podium's discussion you have been in. And we will definitely talk about the topic you have been talking about there. So we will go into that. But first of all, so that the listeners get to know you a little bit, to become an activist, mostly there is a story behind the thing, right? Behind the transition. Have you always been vegan? You're a vegan activist. Have you always been vegan? I probably think not.
No.
Right?
No. What happened was I went vegetarian when I was 12. And then went vegan when I was 13. And then by the time I was 14, I started volunteering with local animal rights groups and things like that. But what turned my opinion and opened my eyes to animal rights and vegetarianism and veganism was at the time my parents lived in the north of Dublin and had lots of land and rescued animals all the time. So we were surrounded by animals, and, they would adopt lots of different animals, or they'd find animals, and we'd basically be caring for animals all day, every day. And then, go home and, have dinner and eat a murdered animal. And when I was about 12, the dots kind of connected for me that how could we have so much love and caring and compassion for the animals that we have and their family to us, then how can we go and eat an animal? So I think it was just after Christmas time, actually, when I was 12. And I said it to my parents that I was going to be a vegetarian. I'm not eating animals anymore. And I thought they might be resistant to it. But instead they said, oh, great idea. We'll go vegetarian too.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Then
a year later, my mom was reading a book. And the book briefly mentioned veganism and about dairy industry and egg industry. And she showed it to me and she was like, what do you think? And then we went vegan just instantly. And
Together.
this was, yeah.
Wow,
And,
that's awesome. I love it.
and this was without knowing any other vegans and not being a member of any sort of vegetarian or vegan society in Dublin or Ireland yet. And we just had to figure it out ourselves. And then it was then when I was 14, I started shifting my opinion that it wasn't enough for me to just be vegan. I had to try and actively be part of making the change in my area, in my country, in the world. And then I just started volunteering with other groups. And then I worked a lot with groups in the UK. And then I eventually set up NARA in 2007. And we've been going strong ever since. So I credit my journey to vegetarian and veganism with the companion animals that we had and my supportive parents as well.
This is really amazing. I love it. Like my parents are so open, and at home there is no there is no meat. There's no animal products. Yes, sometimes, but not meat and dairy. So it's vegetarian home. And I'm so happy and proud of my parents that they made this step as well. And they are so open also for the veganism. And I love it. And I think if you would not have this support from your surrounding, it's so much harder. So, but still, some people manage to do it, but it's so much harder. And I know some people who are really attacked from their own family just by making this choice. And I think that's really sad. And if your family is helping you there and supportive and going with you this whole way, wow, this is really cool. So you have been very, very young changing. That's really I mean, how old are you now? Can I ask this?
Openly? Yeah, of course. Of course. I'm 34.
34. So in 2007, wow. How old have you been?
So in 2007 is when I set up NARA, but I went vegan at 13. So I'm 21 years vegan now.
No, this is amazing. Wow. Yeah.
And back then in Ireland, it wasn't easy. In Ireland, back then, it was not easy at all. Now we have restaurants everywhere. Every cafe will have vegan options and oat milk and things like that. But back then, it wasn't the case. It was really difficult. But it didn't matter. My parents, we were committed and figured out everything ourselves. But veganism in Ireland back then compared to now, completely different.
I can imagine. I mean, I cannot not really imagine, but I somehow tried to, because I've been in Scotland about 10 years ago, and even then it was not the easiest thing. You found some stuff, and that was 10 years ago, not 21 years ago. That's a huge difference. So wow, yeah, really, I'm proud of you, and I honor the friendship with you. So it's really, really cool to know you. Very, very cool. So for everybody who's listening, I think that's already a good message. If you really love animals, if you really want to go that way and help animals, you will find a way. You definitely will find a way, even though it's not the easiest thing at the first moment, but you can let go. So amazing. Well, let's talk a little bit about then NARA. You founded it in 2007. What have been the first steps, and how did it move so far? What happened in these last 15, 16 years?
A lot, so much. So before NARA, I was primarily working on anti-fur campaigns. So I started under the name CAFT Ireland. CAFT was the coalition to abolish the fur trade in the UK. So I had an Irish branch, and one by one, believe it or not, Dublin at the time, all the shops and boutiques were full of real fur. So one by one, we protested every shop, every department store until we got basically 90% of fur out of Dublin. But
90,
as we were
90,
yeah, there's only there's one dedicated fur shop left in Dublin, and then a few secondhand shops have it, but fur is basically out of Dublin now. But it didn't used to be the case. Back then it was everywhere. And it wasn't labeled properly as well, so people weren't even aware of what they were buying. So I started off just with that, and then as we started getting fur out of Dublin, then we started campaigning to ban fur farming, but then that was a bigger task back then at the time. So we started campaigning on different issues, and I was figuring out at the time that I couldn't really be campaigning under the name CAFT if I'm focusing on, say, greyhound racing or horse racing or vegan outreach. I need to think of something that's an all-encompassing sort of a group name. And I didn't want it to be just Dublin centric. I wanted to be able to travel around the country. So National Animal Rights Association, it just means that, you know, we're nationwide. We're mostly based in Dublin, but we do travel every single week. And then bit by bit, we started incorporating different kind of campaigns. We had foie gras campaigns, circus campaigns, zoo campaigns. So we just kept doing different things. And then finally, like, our biggest achievement to date would be the successful ban on fur farming in Ireland. And it took many years, but everything finally fell into place, and they're gone now. They're all gone.
Amazing. Like, well, first of all, congrats on this. I can imagine that some people, sorry to interrupt you, but some people might, who listen to this, who are mostly German speaking, maybe as well. Some people might not even in the first moment know what fur is. Fur is like animal skin made changed into a coat and stuff like that. Like, that's fur. So everybody who listens to this and who now knows, that's what she means. This is animals sometimes even skinned alive and turned into a coat. So I don't, you know, I don't want anyone to really make it completely graphic now, but can you a little bit explain what this means to the animals? Like, what hell have they to go through?
Well, for Ireland, we had mink farms. So there would be these tiny cages in open sheds. So the sheds weren't even enclosed. So think in the coldest days in winter, these animals are exposed in these wire cages. And that's because the cold weather makes them produce more fur. And the cage size would be the size of maybe 2 shoe boxes squared at the bottom. They would have wiring to stand on. So their little toes would be falling through the wire. They'd be fed liquidized fish organs, and it's just dolloped on the top of their cage that they would have to lick through. They would have these tiny little dripper water dishes, and mink are semi-aquatic, so they're, you know, half the time in water, and they never got to experience that. And they're also solitary animals, so they would be surrounded by hundreds and thousands of other mink, which drives them crazy. And then at about 6 months of age, they are gassed to death, and they're put into what's called a killing box, usually 50 at a time. And because 50 are put in at a time, roughly, not all of them are fully dead when they're being skinned. So horrific industry. And it was something that had gone on in Ireland since the 50s. A very, very long time. And for Ireland to have a fur industry was always quite bizarre. At one point, we did have fox farms as well. For the foxes, they were anally electrocuted. That's the method used to kill them. Horrific industry. But the fox farms then shut down, not for ethical reasons, but because they figured in the same space you'd fit one fox, you could fit several mink. And they converted to mink farming. So it's something that was a very tough battle to fight, because in Ireland it was seen as a legitimate agricultural industry. But everything fell into place in our most recent campaign, and we got support from politicians in the government, and we got bills put forward, and then we traveled around the country with an outreach campaign. And at one point, politicians were receiving 200 emails a week asking them to ban fur farming. So it was a huge success. And the original bill that we worked on was proposed by the Socialist Party in Ireland. And it got so much support that the government, which is more centre-right, they saw it was getting so much support. So they took it over, and not only did they say that they'd agree and they'd ban fur farming, but they then tried to say it was their idea first. So it got that much support. But now that the farms are gone, and I went to visit one of the farms to have a look, and the sheds, those horrible, disgusting, filthy sheds, were being taken over by nature. So full of weeds, full of flowers, birds, everything. The fur farmers, when I visited, weren't even dismantling the sheds. They were just leaving them, and nature was taking it back, which was a really emotional moment for me to see after so many years, you know.
Oh, I can imagine. This is crazy cool. I mean, it turned out crazy cool in the end. Something good came out. Yeah, it turned into something good in the end, which is really cool, because nature always takes everything back. I'm pretty sure about that.
Definitely.
I think, you know, like, we people sometimes say, oh, we need to, yes, we need to protect. Yes, but we need to save. No, we don't need to save anything. We need to see that we stay alive, because the mess we are creating in this world, it will kill us first. That's for sure. I mean, yes, many animals and many plants will go with us on the way, if we really move on like this, but nature always finds a way back. And we don't have to think that we can destroy nature completely, because that's not true. If, then we destroy ourselves. And that's the question. Do we really want that? And I don't think so. So in the end, nature always comes back. Always found a way. So
It does.
yeah, that is giving me somehow, in a weird way, it's giving me hope, huh?
Yeah, and if anyone wants to see it, we have the video on our Instagram page.
Yeah.
It's from about like 2 years ago, but we're outside, we're taking footage of it, and I'm talking and pointing to all the weeds and nature taking it back. So it's worth having a look, because I think a lot of people, especially animal rights people, will know how graphic and disgusting the fur farms are, and the smell and the feeling. It's just horrible. But then to see it now being taken over, it was like I cried when I saw it. You know, after so many years working on it, but it is something. I think it's worth having a look on our Instagram page.
Definitely, we will check it out, and we will put the link in the show notes. So we will put some links there. You can all check it out. Everybody who's listening today, go there, check it out, and find out more. That's amazing. Well, just a short side question. This is not your real job, right? I mean, you have
No.
right? You're working to get your living, or to have the money for your life, and then you're doing this more time.
Yes,
It's all of your free time, I can imagine.
yes, I have a day job.
Yes,
You know, and
yes. It goes
and
too. You're a drive teacher, right?
yes, I'm a driving instructor, so keeping the road safe, one person at a time. And you know, not that I think that it's completely ethical to drive either. It's something that we will have to phase out in time. You know, every second I have of free time, I donate then to activism. But my day job of teaching people to drive, you know, while people do still drive, it's important for me to make sure that they drive safely and have a safe skill. And then hopefully one day Ireland will get proper public transport, and everyone will be able to switch properly.
That's amazing. Like socialist as well.
Yeah.
caring for everyone. Can you like I can hear also the far industry, or the topic of far is one of the most, probably it was the first one you were working on and campaigning for.
Yeah.
But there are many other campaigns and many other topics you're talking about. You just mentioned some of them before, like hunting, for example, fox hunting, things like that. Can you explain a little bit, or take us on a journey? What is happening there in Ireland, and what are you doing?
Yes. Well, fox hunting and hare coursing is still legal in Ireland. They were banned in the UK, Northern Ireland, and many other countries many, many years ago, but they still exist here. So the campaign that we're really working very hard at the moment is the campaign to ban hare coursing. And we worked with a socialist politician to get a bill in government. So the bill has been proposed. We're just waiting for it to be voted on. And it's getting so popular, then another socialist politician proposed their own bill. So there's two. Two, yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, and it seeks that each bill is kind of different, but the result would be the same if they were to pass. So for anyone who doesn't know what hare coursing is, and I think most people would not know what it is it's the capture of wild hares. And Irish hares are specifically unique to Ireland. They're actually a protected species, but there's an exemption in the law which allows you to use them for coursing. So coursing is basically, they take these hares, between 3,000 and 5,000 are captured from the wild every year in Ireland. They take these hares, they train them to run down a track, just like a long field. And then they get two dogs. The dogs are muzzled, but the dogs then are released and they chase the hare. And then whichever dog catches up to the hare and makes them change direction wins. So people bet a lot of money on which dog will reach the hare first. So even though the dog is muzzled, one, the hare doesn't know that and they're terrified. And two, the dogs can still kill them by either, stampeding them, breaking their necks, breaking their backs, throwing them up in the air, and just mauling them or traumatizing them in general. Then when the event is finished, the hares are put back in the wild, traumatized, frightened, and not where they originally would have come from. So this is still legal. There's about 90 coursing clubs in the Republic of Ireland. It's very much an underground minority interest. Majority of people in Ireland want to see it banned. but it's seen as a cultural sport, and the politicians at the moment are afraid to offend anyone involved in it. So it's a really tough campaign at the moment because the public agree. It's a small minority that don't, but the small minority that don't agree are the ones that have the ear of the government, and that's the problem. So we're really giving all our effort and all our intensity with our campaigns to this particular issue. And I do believe we will win eventually, but I think it's going to take a bit of time.
I can imagine, what I have in my mind is always have, like everything in life somehow is connected to money. So the minority of the people who do this probably are the ones that have quite a saying there and have money, or
Yes.
is it true? Yeah. It's
Yes.
like every time. And that's also one of the reasons why I really have to say what we want to change with Sanusplanet as well. Like it has to do with money too. And it's sad that if people start to listen more to you and start to not be afraid of banning such a cruel tradition that most of people don't even want, if it is that it needs money to be listened to, it's crazy, but then we will get the money to be listened to. We will do that. So I'm sure that we will find a way, and I'm sure that you will go for it. And I know already now that it will be banned, and that you have so much to do with it. And I'm really proud of you and proud to know you very much. And I will help you wherever I can. And how can people who are listening here to this podcast, how can they support you? Is there a way that they can help you with anything like petitions, signing, sending donations?
Yes, the best way that they can help us is by sending in letters to our politicians. Even if you don't live in Ireland, it really does help, because Ireland is very protective over the tourism industry here. So Ireland does not like the idea of anyone not wanting to come here because we do something so offensive. So on our Facebook page, we have every Monday, we put out an action alert of a list of politicians to contact, and we put a sample letter. Now, you don't have to use a sample letter, you can write your own. But it's literally just copy, paste, send, and every email counts, because with the fur farming campaign, when they were receiving 200 emails a week, that's what really pushed them over the edge. And we need to get that same level for hare coursing. Even if people wanted to just make their own email and say, look, they're from Germany or the UK or Spain or whatever, and they pledge never to come to Ireland until this is banned, that will be great.
Oh, that's amazing. We should do that. So everybody who's listening here now, I will prepare, or I will take a sample from you, put it in the show notes, a short email. You copy it there down in the show notes, and you put it into your email, make a new email, put the address and send it. That's it. It's not hard to do. Everybody can do that. It takes 2 minutes though. So copy, paste, send, that's it. And you helped already this cause to really be changed. And we'll do that. We put it there. So check it out. Okay, guys?
It makes a big difference, because petitions, unfortunately, don't really work in Ireland. They're symbolic, but in the UK, for example, if a petition reaches 1 million, the government have to discuss it and debate it. Petitions here, the government will look at them and they just go, okay, and put them in the bin.
Okay.
You know, it's not. It's not.
We are laughing now, but it's not really something to laugh about, right?
Yeah. It's really crazy that petitions don't count here. And an independent Red C poll was commissioned surveying the people of Ireland on how they feel about hare coursing and hunting, and 77% of people in Ireland want it all banned. So the majority of this country do not want to be cruel. They want hunting and blood sports banned. It's the government that has to catch up. So if we bombard the government with emails, doesn't matter where in the world you're from, they will listen, because it worked before with fur farming.
That's amazing. That's a good one. Yeah. And it doesn't cost anyone anything. So 2 minutes of your time, that's it. And you do so already something good with it. I saw also that you did campaign for like about the greyhounds, like, right, this racings that are happening. Is this still happening in the Ireland as well, this greyhound? I don't know how
it is. It's greyhound racing, and it's actually connected to hare coursing, because the hare coursing clubs keep the stud books, the breeding books for greyhound racing industry, and again, it's more money swapping hands there. So greyhound racing is dogs running around a track, and whichever dog wins gets, again, lots of money. And we breed tens of thousands of greyhounds every year, so much so that other countries have to come over and take greyhounds to try and find homes for them. But more often than not, the greyhound racing industry, any dog that's not making profit anymore, doesn't, race fast enough anymore, they kill them. Our main TV station actually did an undercover investigation on it. It's called Running for Their Lives. It's really good, and it shows the hidden truth of the greyhound racing industry here. So it's another industry that would not exist if it wasn't propped up by the government. The government gives them about 19 million every year. If it wasn't for that, the greyhound tracks would close down. And it's a minority interest. Like, no one that I know, or even that I know of, thinks that going to bet on a dog running around a track is a good night out. It's a very minority interest, and it would not exist if it wasn't for the government. So in Ireland, sometimes, in like, if you're going on tourist buses, they might have coupons for the greyhound racing. If you're in Ireland and you get one, shred it, give it back, and tell them that you won't be taking part, because a lot of the people that I've seen go into the one in Dublin don't know what they're going to. Yeah. They got a free ticket on some tour bus or some coupon, and they don't understand what it is. So anything to do with a night at the dogs, racing, whatever, just shred up that ticket. Don't go. It's horrendously cruel. And it's another industry that's just, it's money making, and it's not even financially or economically viable for themselves, because they need the government to jump in and save them all the time and keep the tracks open. So the government's to blame. When you get those email addresses, email them about greyhound racing too.
Right, to the same place. So I mean, the place that do the same thing here. So and also I saw. I mean, you are doing so much with NARA, with your organization. It's incredible. Also about animal testing, I saw that you are campaigning. How does that work in Ireland? I mean, there's so many things we can talk about. I think this podcast could be about 2 hours long or even longer.
Definitely.
I mean, we make it short today. So what is about the animal testing in Ireland happening?
Well, in Ireland, there is animal testing and research going on in pretty much every college and university in the country. And then there's about 8 or 9 independent commercial testing labs. So at the moment, we have partnered with the Irish Anti-Vivisection Society and Support Animal Free Research Ireland. They're 2 other groups. And we partnered with them to produce a bill to ban Botox testing in Ireland. So Ireland, half of the animals killed for research here is to just test the potency for Botox. Like, if we eliminated that, the numbers killed for research here would drastically decline by 50%. So we figure it's a good one to start with, because it would eliminate so many. So again, we're working with a socialist TD, Paul Murphy is his name. He's with People Before Profit, and his team is currently drafting a bill to ban Botox. It's gone through a first draft. We're going through second draft now. And then we hope to be ready to put it forward in the new year. But it will be the first of its kind ever done in Ireland. No one has ever done that before. And even if it's not an initial success, it's going to get people talking about it. It's going to highlight the issue. And it's going to make it really an agenda item. So another first, and we're very happy to partner with both of those groups to do this.
Yeah, amazing. Wow, I can just say, repeat myself. Well done, amazing, good job. You're really doing good. Awesome. I love it. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Hopefully it will go well.
Yes, yeah. Well, we hope for the best, and supporting from here as much as we can also. And also this Botox topic, I think has so much to do, like what we people buy in general. Whatever product they are, it has so much to do with or not being informed about the background of the product, or about not being resilient enough to say no to products that are bullshit, but we believe we have to look like this, we have to be like that, to be recognized by society, to be someone. And so we buy products just to be someone that we will never reach with these products, but that we will ever just reach with being someone. Standing up for something that is creating someone out of us. And I think not these products, and especially not products that are a nightmare for someone else, in this case for all of the animals. So guys, everyone who's listening here, please think twice or 3 or 4 times about the products you buy. Think about it, because it just doesn't make sense to buy stuff, cheap or expensive, whatever it is, to buy it just to have it, just to feel something that you are not working on giving yourself without having to buy it. it's most of the time love, and we want to be loved, we want to be seen. Everybody wants that, right? Okay, that's good, but we can never reach that by buying products that are killing, hurting, and doing all of these cruel things to other living beings as well. And I think that if people would see this on their own, with their own eyes, they would be so shocked. And that's probably the problem, that people don't see what is behind. And I think that's what you are doing so much, like also making people aware about it and talking about it and understanding what is behind of all these products that we really don't need. Nobody needs Botox. Like, you don't need Botox. You want it maybe, but you don't need it.
Yeah, definitely. And I would like to believe that if people knew what was going into it, that they would stop buying it. And like, even if people want to use Botox, and some of the Botox is for medical procedures as well, it's not just cosmetic, but there are alternatives. You know, there are alternatives. And I believe it was Germany that manufactured the first alternative to Botox potency batch testing. So like an alternative non-animal version does exist. We just need to make it Europe-wide. So people can keep the Botox, have the Botox, just don't test it on animals. And this is something that we want to highlight with the bill, is there is an alternative. It exists. And we need to be using it. If people want to keep using Botox cosmetically or medically, we need to get alternatives. And I would hope that when people see what is done to these mice, it's mice that are used for it. If they see what is done and know what happens and knows there is an alternative, I'm hoping people make the right decision. But it will be the first of its kind to happen in Ireland, this bill. So keep an eye early next year, and help all of our European supporters and comrades. Please help us push it over the line.
This is amazing that you said that, because, for example, I'm not so much into the Botox topic, so I did not even know that it's probably also medically subscribed. So yeah, it's great that you say that. Keep it, but take the alternative that is not killing anyone or hurting anyone. So great. Yeah. Thank you for this information. See, I always learn so much, and this is amazing, because then we can get also better our message out. So I did not even know that. Awesome to know. Very cool. Is there something you would like to tell the community today? Like, what is your most important message you want to share in this podcast with our community?
I think the most important message I could give anyone is believe in yourself, because it only takes one person to make a change. You don't need to create an organization or join an organization. You just need to make changes every day and make conscious decisions and changes every day to make the world a better place. Everything changes with one person, and why wouldn't it be you? So if you can take action, make a kinder choice, just a little tiny bit kinder and safer for everyone, human and animal, that live in it, just do it. Because I believe in you, and I know you can do it. We can all do it, but we just have to believe in ourselves to try.
That's amazing. That's a really good message from your side. And I think it's also a very good ending of this podcast. Is there something else you would like to tell the community? Like, is there something else that I, for example, did maybe not mention or ask? Something about NARA?
One thing, and it's going to launch next year, probably February-ish. We were working on a brand new animal agriculture campaign in Ireland. We are partnering with Animal Rebellion Ireland, and we were going to release something amazing that we hope will shift opinions and shift the tide in Ireland and help create a pathway to a plant-based future for agriculture in Ireland. So all will be revealed very soon, but it will be the biggest campaign that we have ever done on animal agriculture. And again, we would love all of our European comrades to help us with it as well.
This is awesome. Everything what you tell me today, this is just awesome. Like, very, very cool. Very cool. So I hold both of my fingers. In German, we say I hold my fingers, these ones, for you to get through with it and to go for it. And I will do whatever I can to share all of these informations with our community as well, that everybody can join, can send letters, can jump on this topic, can learn from it, and can grow from it and take better choices as well at home. You don't have to be, like Laura just said, you don't have to be an activist. You don't have to be, you have your own NGO. You don't have to be in Dublin to help Dublin in shifting also, or to help your own country and your own family in shifting as well. Every day, step by step, little steps, they count so much. So everybody, thank you so much for having been here today, for listening to this podcast. All the information you will find in the show notes. Click on it, check out what Laura is doing, check out about NARA, learn about it. And if you want in future, Laura is as well, like NARA is as well part of Sanusplanet. So she signed up as well for Sanusplanet, means everybody of you can in future send a few coins as a donation. So that is always welcome, I can imagine, right? Laura, you might need some support, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Always in need of support.
Yeah, and I think as we heard right now in this podcast, in this beautiful interview, that we all agree with this money will be really giving very good support because it's going into the right direction. So just send a few coins if you want to, and doesn't hurt you, I think. And if you can, just join, help, do whatever you can, and listen to the next podcast in about 2 weeks again. And I'm very happy that you have been here. Thank you all so much. And thank you, Laura, for having taken this time to explain all of this to us and to let us be part, even for a half an hour, of the amazing campaigns that you're working on, and to learn also about the things that are so hard and that sometimes make an activist's heart like really, really full of pain and hurt, but that you still move on and go for it, and that I can still hear in your words that you're always still believing in the good and believing in people being able to change. And that is really, really cool. Thank you so much for your time and for having been here. Thank you, Laura.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for all you do as well. It's greatly appreciated, and I see what you do on a daily basis too. So it's great to have you in our community. Thank you.
Very cool. Bye, guys. Bye. Until next time.